Hello everybody, this is Jason Hires. This is another edition of My Essential Albums. I'm going to not include the number when I do these because honestly I kind of forget what the number is. The numbers will show up in the video description because they'll be part of the playlist, so you'll know which number it is, but I'm not going to do the numbers anymore in terms of talking on the videos because honestly I have to really double check them before I look because I don't always remember. With the rebranding to the My Essential Albums, I'm already up to, I want to say this one's 13, and then I've done other ones before. I've done about 30 or 40 of these at this point. So with all the various channels, I should just put them all together into one thing. But anyway, today we're going to talk about the new album by Pearl Jam called Gigaton, and here's the album cover. Now, a gigaton, I guess, is the amount of ice that melts over a certain period of time. Of course, if a gigabyte is, like a billion bytes, a gigaton would be like a billion tons. So, it's a lot of ice. Even though, considering that it has this sort of environmental theme, this is pretty hefty packaging for a CD, which I can't help but find minorly ironic with this album. However, it is the same kind of packaging that they used for their last album, which is called Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt was a little bit of a miss. It was recorded back in 2000, what was it again? 2013, 2017, 2013. So it's been a long time since Pearl Jam has produced an album. And even with the 2013, the last full-fledged album they produced then was Backspacer, which actually I think is an underrated album that was released in 2009. Now, this album is actually a very good album for Pearl Jam. It's actually one of the better albums they've released in quite a long time. I mean, they haven't released that many albums anyway, but this one has a freshness to it that you don't really see in as many Pearl Jam albums anymore. Eddie Vedder and Stone Gossard and Mike McCready and the rest of the Pearl Jam crew, they've been together for a while now. They're a good, solid band. They're great live. Eddie Vedder's very political. He has his ideas about what he wants to do in life, and, I don't have a problem with that. But this album, the first thing that really sticks out about this album is Pearl Jam starts stepping into some sonic territory that they don't always step into. And actually, they kind of get into it right off the bat with some of the really early songs where they really do some things that's a little bit outside of what Pearl Jam normally does. So the album starts off really powerfully with the first four songs are all great. Whoever Said, which is the opening track, is good. Super Blood Wolf Moon, which has an interesting title, but it's a good song. Quick Escape is probably the best song on the album. It has this really cool bass, and it's got some really cool guitar solos and some different things on it. I mean, this is definitely a really good Pearl Jam album. And if you've been looking for a good Pearl Jam album, this is definitely what you want. There's a lot of power in it. They moved away from producer Brendan O'Brien, which I think is probably okay. Brendan O'Brien is a good producer, but he definitely has kind of a very 90s signature sound, and he's never really kind of moved beyond it. And, it was good at the time. I mean, he produced the original Pearl Jam albums. He produced the original Stone Temple Pilot albums. He made his contribution to popular music without a doubt. Nothing wrong with that. Now, I was going to do a really quick and simple demonstration of something musically. This one should be pretty easy because it's a pretty simple demonstration. This is a little bit from the song Super Blood Wolf Moon, and I'm just kind of going to demonstrate something to you as showing how they did one thing as a stylistic effect and what the impact is, and show you kind of what the typical thing would be. So there's a part in Super Blood Wolf Moon where basically if you strip down everything else that they do on top of it, it would be played like this. So that's the core function. What they're doing is they're just playing those three. They're just 3 chords, and they're playing it like that. Now the first thing they do is they add this little thing that you do where you take your bass finger off on the top, so you're doing. So instead of just being, it's. And then the first part would be. So that's kind of the first part, and they add that little bit of that bass finger where it goes. Now I started going into the second part, but I didn't want to reveal the whole thing. So here's the fun part of it. It does this little thing when it comes back. So it goes up to this spot. It goes from F sharp to B, and then it goes back from B to F sharp. But it does this kind of little interesting thing. It starts off with the. Now watch this. Instead of going, now normally you would, when you go back up to the F sharp, you would do it the same way that you came down. So you would go. So you would go. But instead it does this. It goes. It does this little half step, and it moves up a half step and then back a half step and then up. So just so you know, for those of you that a half step is a fret. That's what the frets mark, is a half step. So this is going from an A to an A flat. Okay, so it's like the classic half step would be. But anyway, so let me show you the part real quick. So that's pretty much how it goes. And it's just that little change with the half step and the little lift off and things that adds that little bit of extra push to it and kicks it. And that little back step where it ceases from moving from the lower note or the higher note to the lower note, and it actually steps back for just 1 second before it switches over. It kind of lurches you out for a second, it grabs you, and it kind of catches your attention. So it's just a cool little thing that you can do when you're writing a song to just kind of, have it be a point of emphasis so you catch it. So, instead of just going back to where you were. So I hope that makes sense to you. I know. But anyway, Gigaton, great album. Best Pearl Jam album in a really long time. And if you like Pearl Jam, definitely pick it up. You know, it does dovetail off a little bit towards the end of the album. They almost probably should have just stopped at track 10 and ended it with track 10, because tracks 11 and 12 kind of don't really add a whole lot to the album. But still, I'm glad that they produced a quality new album, and definitely worth checking out. Alright, well, this is Jason Hires. This is My Essential Albums. Please leave any comments. If there's any albums that you want me to try to review, let me know. I am in the process of moving from one place to another place, so my CD collection's kind of in a weird spot right at the moment, but I will get things going again. So thank you and have a great day. Bye.